like somewhat like Cheryl, I'm reading two poems written at very different times about the same place, which in this case is up on Mount Washington. Back in the late 80s, I was working every summer for 2 weeks with the Appalachian Mountain Club volunteer trail crew. And some of our work was actually up in the alpine meadow of Mount Washington, which is, as many of you know, only a few hundred feet below the top, and there are small plants there, but there are no trees. So they have to use cairns built out of stone, pillars of stone, to mark the trail. There are no trees that you can mark to show the trail up there. So in this occasion, we are repairing the cairns on Mount Washington that have kind of fallen apart a bit, and we had a British mason helping us. We are constructing, I better put my glasses on. We are constructing spires of stone on an alpine meadow. Sunlight rich as butter ignites mica in granite. High and small, blue-black ravens waft past. Drinking champagne air, we scan sparse grasses for large but liftable boulders. Glacier-dropped chips off the old mountain block, no longer Himalayan high. A Cheshire mason's son ad-libs British quips as we stagger back, arms stretched, strapping stones against our thighs like refrigerators belted to dollies. He drops the rocks in their sockets just so, broad, level, and sturdy enough to hold up the upper stories. The pyramid reaches its peak. He bounds on top. Kodaks capture the moment. Once in Peru, on the hills above Lake Titicaca, we saw such chimneys of fieldstone, but rounder on top and taller. Local dignitaries' towers, wolf-proof bone repositories, rippled by sear sedges, pre-Inca time capsules we chose not to open. Landmarks on the hard-packed pathway to Elysian fields we were not prepared to follow. Our cairns today escalate our spirits on our highway and lead us to the blustery summit, blistered but lighthearted, knowing that some fog-bound, wind-swept, rain-driven hiker will hunker down behind them, lay on thankful hands, peer cloudily from marker to marker, and whistle as he descends to sheltering evergreen hedges and the canopy of oak and birch. So I hope that gives you a little feeling for being up on Mount Washington. And the second poem is also about being up Washington, but it's 20 years later when I was no longer able to do trail work, but rode the train up there with family for my 80th birthday. And I called this one A Mountaintop Experience. We have clickety-clacked to the misty summit of New England's tallest weather-wrapped peak. Cog after cog dropping into their sockets. I accompanied by my kids and their kids, hoping we won't slide back to our doom. At the age of 10, I first ascended the trail that ran from the railroad base to the Lake of the Clouds to the tip top and down the Jewel. My mother in sneakers and black print dress, the last ascent my parents tried. But I got to know Mount Washington well, repairing cairns in the alpine meadows, boulder hopping down Huntington Ravine, traversing to Madison Hut and back, and watching skiers bolt down Tuckermans. I have grown fond of the ancient rock pile. It was good to revisit an old friend.